Our mission is to grow a church community where knowing Jesus and loving people changes lives for the glory of God. One way to look at how this plays out is to consider ourselves gardeners or farmers, planting seeds of gospel growth, tending to one another's faith and harvesting fruits as we grow. Uh, Anyone who enjoys gardening will know that it's an activity very much influenced by the seasons. This is not me, but I've been told on good authority that, yes, gardeners, this is important. It's influenced by the seasons. Right now, not in my home, but in your home, I'm sure, if you have one, you have been planting some spring seedlings, yes? Or harvesting harvesting your winter veggies? Well, anyway, here at Gosford PC, there's been a faithful community harvesting and planting since 1913. That's cool. We are in so many ways indebted to those who came before us. And it's our job today to carefully steward the gospel message and this community for the generations that will come after us. The elders have been having many discussions lately, along with our team leaders, and we feel that as a church family, we're about to enter into a new season, and that's going to mean some changes as we plant and harvest for the gospel in some new ways. We're going to spend a bit of time now looking at the season that we're in and sharing with you the plans for cultivating gospel growth in the new season ahead. So firstly, where have we been? Well, over the past few years, we've been on a little bit of a journey together. We've had to pull together to meet some very real challenges, and it hasn't been easy. I remember the very first time the live stream happened that we did in lockdown way back in March 2020. Can you believe it? Craig got up to pray, and the camera actually fell off the tripod because we hadn't figured out how tall he was. I don't know if you're joining online. It was like, what the... Or how we actually had an annual congregational meeting entirely on Zoom. Do you remember that? We all had to wear hats just to make it more engaging. Stupid hats. Yeah. Once we were able to return in-person servicings, though, mingling wasn't allowed and we could only fit 60 people in the auditorium at a time. There were people we missed for months on end and some who never returned. COVID had a major impact on our community and we began meeting at new times. We changed from the 3 long-standing Sunday services to 2. That was hard for a lot of us. There were challenges. There was a lot of grief for what was lost in the change, including a sense of loss of connection between those in each service and those who didn't return to in-person services. Staff and volunteers were majorly stretched with 2 services back to back. Our kids' church teachers and music teams particularly were impacted by this. Communication and consultation about the changes was spotty. Being down a minister for a year, that didn't help. Furthermore, COVID restrictions continued to impede the experience of meeting together, such as having to wear masks and concern over singing. And finally, there was the ongoing reality of people's just slow recovery from actually contracting COVID, getting over it. But as a faithful gospel community, we adapted. And we tried different things, using flexibility, patience, investing in relationships, and working on our support for teams. For example, when we could, we changed from volunteers doing 2 services to 1. People joined teams and tried something new. When we were ministered down, Meg Trithui, she stepped up in a massive way. She took on a 4-day-a-week role to care for our kids and youth. We brought back morning tea. We invested in higher quality live stream equipment. We even had a talent show. Furthermore, we were responsive to the de-escalation of COVID restrictions, encouraging an ongoing safe space. As a church family, we persevered in less than ideal circumstances out of love for one another and for the gospel. And through this, there were some wins and there were some losses. It's fair to say that we haven't achieved what we wanted to in terms of replicating 2 large morning services, with one service growing in numbers significantly more than the other. Some people haven't returned and others remain online. Our volunteers have been really stretched. At times, staff have been stretched and discouraged too. And some people have found the current service times that just hasn't suited them, even with plenty of perseverance and patience. However, the wins have been many too. There's plenty to count as harvest. We achieved a pretty solid COVID-safe environment, which was no easy feat. Every single team and volunteer went that extra mile for months to protect the vulnerable in our community. We've welcomed plenty of newcomers to the point that we're now matching our pre-COVID attendance figures. And if you're new here, we're very glad that you're part of our community. We successfully restarted a bunch of ministries, building new teams and refocusing on our mission. New ministries are emerging. Communication and consultation with the elders is improving. Stronger team structures have emerged. There is increased teamwork between ministry team leaders and elders, deliberate training and equipping of leaders, and our staff have got a great shot in the arm with the arrival of Jamie and Amy. Many have proved themselves extremely generous over this time with their money, with their time, and with their effort. And our service to those unable to attend church in person has been maintained through a quality online presence. We thank God for the many blessings that He's given us over the past couple of years. And we're thankful for you too, for hanging in there over a challenging season. It's been so encouraging to see our community work its way back to a pretty healthy place. And that's in large part thanks to each and every one of you sharing your lives with one another through all the ups and the downs for Jesus' sake. We're finishing up this season with some valuable lessons learned, particularly about how to wisely navigate change, the need to consult the congregation earlier and more often, and the impact of grief when things are turned upside down. We've also learned that we're part of a community that deeply values our time together. We've got something really special here, and it matters. Our team structures are also, they're stronger. We're improving communication and consultation, and new leaders are emerging with an excitement for the opportunity to see what God will do in and through us as we seek to make much of Jesus in the upcoming year. So with these lessons in mind, we feel that the time for a new season is approaching. What that looks like in 2024 is 2 new service times. The elders have decided in principle to go ahead with a new Sunday PM service upon the condition that the 2 AM services merge into one. So instead of our existing 2 morning services, we'll have 1 AM service and 1 PM service. We expect these changes will come into effect early 2024 next year. We're figuring out timeframes at the moment with a view to making sure that we have enough time to set aside and organise things well and properly care for those who are impacted. We'll let you know firm dates as soon as we can. We're doing this for the same reasons as back in 2020, as a desire to grow our church community where knowing Jesus and loving people changes lives for the glory of God, and a willingness to try something new. The elders believe this will provide good gospel opportunities in a number of ways, and we'll be reviewing the changes in a year's time to make sure that they are. So why a PM service? Well, the reality is that about 80% of people come to faith in Jesus before they turn 18. The youth space is vital in creating pathways for younger people to hear the gospel, turn to Jesus and grow in their faith. It's a really important part of our mission, planting gospel seeds for the next generation. We believe a PM service will provide a better space for the youth and young people to do church and to grow in their knowledge of Jesus and love for each other than the current service arrangement. A new PM service will have the opportunity to develop a unique identity distinct from the morning service, where youth and young adults can be equipped and trained in serving Jesus, where friends can be invited along, and where a clear pathway from Friday youth can be established. Another reality is that the demographics of our local area, they're changing. There's been an influx of students attending the new teaching facilities at Gosford Hospital, and in general, more young people are moving to the coast. A PM service we hope, will cater to these demographics, and also, importantly, enable those who are shift workers or engaged in Sunday sports to regularly attend church. And we surveyed everyone recently. Almost a quarter of the respondents were interested in attending an evening service, which is enough people to make it a viable option. Why 1 morning service instead of 2? Well, it comes down to resources and a decision to consolidate and strengthen our existing morning communities. We simply don't have the staffing or volunteer levels to sustain 3 services each Sunday. Combining the two morning communities will help us manage volunteer levels well and allow for greater cross-generational connections to form. It's bringing together two faithful communities, harvesting the good that has grown over the past few years, maintaining meaningful relationships and sowing into new ones in a sustainable way. We're humbly stepping out in faith in the hope of gospel growth, planting seeds that we hope will bear much fruit in time, but that doesn't mean that there won't be challenges. The elders are very aware that there are risks and costs involved in making these changes. With the lessons learned from the past few years, we've committed to doing our very best to serve you well as we navigate this path. So we want to hear from you. Maybe you're concerned about the more senior members, that they might lose a sense of community if youth and young adults are no longer regularly present in the morning. Maybe you're worried that the new AM service will be too big and parking will be a problem. Maybe you think that the busyness of students' lives may discourage them from serving in the morning service, which will impact our teams. Maybe you're just sick of change and it all feels too much right now. Maybe you wonder what your place will be in our new congregations. These are just some of the concerns that we're aware may arise from this new restructure of Sunday services, but there may be others that we're unaware of. Shifting our congregations shifting those congregations around is complex, and it's something that we're not taking lightly. As such, we want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts on this matter so that we might better serve you wherever things land. So to give you some idea of timeframes, we're gathering feedback over the next couple of weeks, and we'll review it and report back to you by mid-October. We'll then look to put together teams for each new service to plan and prepare for kick-off earlier in the new year. We hope to have firm dates to share with you when we report back to you in October. As you can imagine, there's a lot to sort through, and we very much want to incorporate your feedback into our plans. To this end, we encourage everyone here in our church family to fill in a survey. I know it's another survey, but please stick around and fill in this survey. So if you could spend some time doing that, that'd be great. Scan the QR code on the screen to access that survey. If you need a paper copy, please indicate now, and we'll get that survey to you. If you're new here, please join myself and Jamie out in the foyer for some morning tea. We'd love to chat with you while the rest of you guys fill in that survey. Finally, once you've filled out the survey and perhaps you would like to chat with the elders about any of the concerns or questions that you have, note where they are. Elders, would you like to stand up for us, please? Yep. So if you have any questions or concerns after filling in the survey, go and chat to one of these guys, all right? All right, thanks, guys. We'll leave you for a few minutes to fill in this survey. Roger is also another elder there, you can chat to him as well. So if you're new, please join me and Jamie as we go and have morning tea together.